Hi everyone! So I am going to do for Vlogmas and I'm going to film this in advance because I kind of just wanted to film it and I'll post it at some point where something happens, because we all know so far I've missed quite a few days of this Vlogmas. Anyway, so I'm going to do the and I'm looking down because I've got my notes, the Holly Jolly Holiday tag. So I saw Anna Brim's video, so Mrs. Brimbles on YouTube, tag for this. So it's 20 questions and we'll just get started. So, favourite Christmas movie? Now, see, I have my favourite movie that is about Christmas, and then I have my favourite movie which I always watch during the Christmas season. So my favourite Christmas movie is Santa Claus the movie. Dudley Moore as an elf. It's really old. It's probably the first Christmas film I remember watching. So I absolutely love that film. There is a little bit of kind of sinister thing about it as well, though. So I remember watching it with my mum and getting quite scared when I was little. So that one. The other film that I absolutely love watching and can always remember watching during Christmas season, during that kind of time when school finished and school started again in the new year, is Mary Poppins. I love that film. Julie Andrews is the quintessential British lady, and Dick Van Dyke is just fab. So I love that film. Dancing Penguins. You can't get anything better than Dancing Penguins. So those are my two favourite movies. Are you on the naughty list or are you on the nice list? It's always fun to be naughty, but I think I've been quite good this year, so hopefully I won't get a lump of coal under the tree this year. I'll get some nice stuff. Show us an embarrassing Christmas card photo. Now, we don't do Christmas cards. Well, our family doesn't, and to be honest, I don't think it's as prevalent in the UK as it is in the US, but I am going to show you an embarrassing picture of me as a child at Christmas. We actually had, and I was telling you in a previous Vlogmas video, that we had a childhood photo competition quiz thing at work, and I will show you now. Let's see if it will work on my iPad. The picture of me in my dressing gown with a Christmas cracker hat on, opening my oh, it was my stocking actually at Christmas, and I love this photo. I don't think it looks like me, and a lot of people don't think it looks like me. My mum actually sent me, when we were prepping for the when I was looking at photos for this quiz, my mum sent me 4 photos, and there's some fabulous ones in here. The one thing I love is that I tend to pull lots of faces. Well, I tended. This is all Christmas 1988, so I was 4. This seems to be my favourite face that I used to pull when I was 4. Just look, 80s fashion. Black velvet with pink satin on a dress. Cool as. That's what I was. Cool as. So that's an embarrassing, or is it embarrassing Christmas card photo? Yeah. Have you ever had a white Christmas? Yeah, actually. In the UK, it doesn't snow that often at Christmas. In fact, it tends to snow kind of late January, early February, if at all. Mostly it just rains here. But the first year in this house, actually, this is our first house that we bought together, my husband and I, and our first Christmas here, so it was 2010, it snowed. It snowed. And my in-laws were here to stay, so my mother-in-law and her partner and my brother-in-law, his wife and their son and their dog all came for Christmas, and it snowed and they made it down, which was amazing. Their dog had never seen snow before, and they don't have a garden, so they go on long walks by the beach, which is where they live on the coast. So he'd never kind of run around in a garden in snow, and he absolutely loved it. And then our heating went out on Christmas Eve, and we couldn't get it fixed till Boxing Day, so the boys went and did like an emergency run to Argos to get some heaters, and luckily our gas fire, which is there, still worked. It was just the heating rather than the gas itself went out, so we all stayed in this room like warm for the whole day, and then like when the oven was on, when we were cooking on Christmas Day, it was fab. It's really, I have some really good memories of white Christmases as a child as well. Like I think it was a couple of years after my parents divorced in our new house with my mum, it snowed and we went and did snowball fights out on the road with our neighbours and stuff. So when it does snow, it's beautiful here in the UK. So where do you usually spend your holiday? For the last couple of years here, we've tended to host. This year actually we're on our own, so it's just the two of us on Christmas Day, but we'll be travelling around the country going to see our folks before and after. But we've hosted Chris's family here, a couple of holidays. My mum came here last Christmas Day, so we tend to spend it here. Both of us are from kind of divorced sets of parents, so there's 4 arguments to have as to who we spend Christmas Day with, so actually most of the time it's quite easy for us to go, oh, just come here. So it's usually here, which is nice. It's nice being at home on Christmas Day. Play or sing your favourite Christmas song. I am not going to subject you to my singing, but my favourite Christmas song by far is Silent Night. It's beautiful, sung by a choir. It's even more beautiful sung by a young child choir. One of the things I absolutely love to do, although I don't usually catch it live, is watch carols at King's, from King's College Chapel in Cambridge. They are one of the most beautiful choirs to listen to, so if anyone's not listened to King's College Choir, YouTube them, they are fab. But even just sung by a school group, or one of my favourite versions is from Love Actually, when the man's standing with the cue cards. If you haven't seen that, YouTube that as well, because it's fab and it makes me cry every time. So that's my favourite. You can't get better than Jingle Bells either. So yes, particularly all the rude versions. Anyway, do you open any presents on Christmas Eve? For the past couple of years actually we have. In fact last year, we went to my dad's last year, we actually opened all our presents on Christmas Eve, which wasn't very good. But the year before we were here and we went to midnight mass, so that was quite nice. We got back from midnight mass, and obviously it's Christmas Day because it's early in the morning, but it was nice to do it when we came back, so we opened one present on Christmas Eve, usually. Can you name all of Santa's reindeer? Rudolph, Donner, Blitzen, Comet, Cupid. There's 2 more, isn't there? I don't know. That's bad. I'll look it up. What holiday tradition are you looking forward to most this year? We don't really have many holiday traditions, but the one thing, it's kind of a tradition, is using this fairy. And I've shown you this on my, when I showed you my Christmas tree video. This is my jazz fairy with her saxophone. She's been in my family for a long time, and I love putting her out on the tree. The other tradition is that we put our baubles from our wedding out as well, so it's always nice to have the baubles that have our wedding ribbon on it every year. So that's that one. Is your Christmas tree real or fake? This year it's real! It is the world's smallest Christmas tree, but it's real. Usually we have a 6-foot fake Christmas tree, which is up in our loft at the moment. It doesn't fit anywhere because we've got too much furniture. But yeah, it is real, and it's shedding pine needles everywhere. Hands down, what's your all-time favourite holiday food or holiday sweet treat? My all-time favourite holiday food are pigs in blankets, sausages wrapped in bacon, and I have to have 2, my husband's leek casserole. It is the most calorific thing in the world, but it's amazing. Holiday sweet treat, mince pies, icing topped mince pies. I actually had one today, which was fab. Be honest, do you like giving gifts or receiving gifts better? I like the kind of thought that goes behind buying gifts, and I love wrapping gifts, and there's a wrapping question later. I love receiving gifts as well, because I like seeing what other people have thought would be good for me, or if they've actually followed my Amazon wishlist. That's a really hard question. Probably giving edges it slightly more than receiving. Probably. Yeah. Show us your tackiest Christmas attire. You've seen this before. I love it. What would your dream place be? Your dream place to visit for the holiday season? Disneyland. right there. Doesn't matter which, Disneyland Paris is our nearest one. I could go to Disney World, I could go to Disneyland, it's fine. Whatever. Does your family have a special holiday recipe you like to help make? Chris's family does. They have something called Wonder Cake, so it's basically a Christmas cake without the fruit, because there are not very many fruit lovers in that family. It's fab, it's got so many different spices in it. It's basically a sponge that keeps for a little bit longer than a normal sponge. I made it last year and it's tasty. It's very tasty. Okay, I'm going to take this off because it's making noise. Are you a pro present wrapper or do you fail miserably? This was a box and it still is a box that opens like that. Pro. That's me! If it goes back in. There we go. I take care in wrapping. I like wrapping. Wrapping's one of my favourite things to do when it comes to Christmas. Last year was all about the brown paper and washi tape. This year is all about the tackiness. Okay. We're at 17. Most memorable holiday moment. There's a few. In childhood, my favourite was we went down to my grandmother who lives in, my French grandmother, my mother's French. We went down to her house in the south of France, and my uncle, who sadly passed away when I was 8, was there, and he's younger than, he's younger than my mum. He's 12 years younger than her, or was 12 years younger than her, and he was your quintessential spoiling uncle of his young niece and nephew, and we had a fabulous time in the south of France. Obviously it wasn't cold, it was quite a tropical Christmas, but we all wore Santa hats and we put fire in the fireplace, and Philip, who's my uncle, and my dad took it in turns to try and use a sharp knife to kind of whack the top off a champagne bottle rather than opening it properly, and Philip managed it, and my dad ended up with like shattered champagne bottle everywhere. Luckily it was quite cheap champagne, and then Philip spent just the most amount of money on my brother and I, Yannick and I, and it wasn't even about that, it was just the fact that he wanted to, and he was just a fab uncle, and I miss him every day. More recent times, most memorable holiday moment was getting married. We got married 2 days before Christmas, and our church was decorated for Christmas, and our hotel was decorated for Christmas, and it was magical. So yeah, some pretty good memories. So, number 18. What made you realise, what made you realise the truth about Santa? I walked down on my parents because we had a tradition of, we put a carrot out for Rudolph and we put a mince pie out and some whiskey, brandy out for Santa, and I couldn't sleep one night, and it wasn't even me being excited for Christmas, it was just that I couldn't sleep, and I came down and I saw my dad eating the mince pie to leave the bite marks. I was quite old, I'd already got to that point where a lot of my friends started not believing in Santa anyway, so I don't think it was a wholly big surprise. But yeah, at that point I went, yeah, you're doing it, aren't you? I'll keep up the charade for my little brother. So yeah, it's really interesting actually being a brownie leader, and how some of the older kids are starting to get to that point of knowing that Santa and the Tooth Fairy and the Easter Bunny aren't real. But they're so good at keeping it up for the younger ones. So we had, at a recent stay away with our brownies, one of the girls lost her tooth. And so she lost it in her sleeping bag, which was so annoying. So we just kind of packed the whole group out in there. Made them put their wellies on over their pyjamas, put their coats on and go outside and play, while the other owls frantically texted the mum to find out what was the going rate for the Tooth Fairy, and try and find this tooth. And luckily we found it, and it was buried in her sleeping bag, and we took it, wrapped it all up to give to mum, and then luckily Mum was quick on the checks, and we put £1 on her stuffed toy, ready for her to find it, and she found it, and just the excitement of the fact that the Tooth Fairy had found her when she wasn't at home. It's magical. It's really magical. Yeah, it makes me sad that I don't believe in it anymore. Anyway, 19. Do you make New Year's resolutions and do you stick to them? I do. I did far better at my New Year's resolutions in 2013 than I did in 2014. 2014 was a bit of an interesting year for resolutions. I think I made too many, and therefore it's the whole like large to-do list problem where you do too many to-dos, so you just kind of go, oh, there's too many, oh, overwhelmed, and you don't do anything. Whereas I had 3 in 2013 and I stuck to all of them. I do try and make New Year's resolutions. I don't call them resolutions, I call them goals, or my giant to-do list. But I do try. I have 1 next year. I might have 2. I still got to think about it. And finally, what makes the holiday special for you? Oh, there's so many things. I don't feel Christmassy until I have my tree up. Finding presents. I don't get stressed about Christmas shopping. Most of it, admittedly most of it I do online, because I actually can't stand people in shops. And just the look on people's faces when they open stuff and they like what you've given them. I really like that. And I'm really close to my family, most of them, and seeing them is really nice, and that makes it really special. And then also being curled up in my house on the sofa with my husband, having time off work, not having to worry about stresses of normal life. I love that. So that is the Holly Jolly holiday tag. I'm not going to tag anyone in particular to do this because I wasn't tagged to do this, so I'm challenging you out there in YouTube land. If you don't have a YouTube channel, why don't you make this your first video? If you blog it. If you want to put it on Facebook, do it. I don't think it's something that you can just do to video, so yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow.